everyone, NETX5 here, and it's that time of the year again where I list off my top 10 favorite films of the year. But before I begin, I just wanted to be known that I thought 2017 was a lackluster year for movies, as not a whole lot of films impressed me. Even films I thought were good never met my expectations, but thankfully the following 10 films stood out to me as the best of the year. So without further ado, let's get started with number 10, The Shape of Water. For those who saw my review, I stated how I'm not the biggest Del Toro fan, and if I was to review all his films, not a single one would get a score higher than 8. But then The Shape of Water came along and took my breath away. This movie was charming, sweet, and above all, it was a beautiful film to watch. From the characters that were performed flawlessly from all the actors, and special mention to Sally Hawkins and Richard Jenkins as the two standouts in the film, to the music that adds a sense of magic to the film, to the film's use of practical effects, and most importantly, the direction which guarantees that you are watching a film from Del Toro and nobody else. This movie is simply a can't miss. Number 9, I, Tonya. The only thing about this film that bothers me is that it took liberties telling its true story, but besides that, I, Tonya is easily the most entertaining film of the year. The movie goes by at a rapid pace while still telling a wholesome story, and in some areas the film felt like Goodfellas, and in a good way. The movie was funny in a lot of places, and as a surprise, it had a real heavy emotion to it. Margot Robbie delivers her career best so far, and she seems to keep getting better and better. And Allison Janney gives one of the great characters of the year, portraying a heartless and cold person that rightfully deserved the Oscar nomination. If you're looking for something fun and energetic to watch, then this is the film for you. Number 8, Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond. For the second year in a row, a documentary makes it onto my Films of the Year list, but it is well deserved. The documentary shows what happened behind the scenes during the making of the film Man on the Moon when Jim Carrey went full method into playing the real-life comedian Andy Kaufman. And without giving too much away, for those who haven't seen the documentary, it is something you need to see to believe. The amount of dedication and effort Jim Carrey went through to bring the essence of Kaufman back to life is startling, and the film's final message is a powerful presentation of life. Number 7, Get Out. Plain and simple, this is one of the most truly original horror films in years, and a strong directorial debut for Jordan Peele, who before this was known for the sketch comedy series Key and Peele. But with the release of the film, Jordan Peele has established himself as a filmmaker to watch. The acting from everyone is superb, the film's writing hits it right on the nose, and the film's Oscar nominations in Best Director, Best Actor, Best Screenplay, and Best Picture were very much deserved. Not only is Get Out the best horror film in years, but it's also one of the best horror films of all time. Number 6, Blade Runner 2049. This film had no reason to exist, as the first film is considered a masterpiece, and doing a sequel was deemed unthinkable. But with a solid screenplay and Denis Villeneuve attached as director, the film now has a reason to exist. And much like the original film, Blade Runner 2049 is a masterpiece, and I strongly believe that the new film is better than the original Blade Runner. Like I stated in my review, the visual effects were breathtaking, and the types of effects in the film were techniques I have never seen done before. And of course, I can't forget to mention Roger Deakins' cinematography. Each shot is beautifully composed and is oozing with detail, and each shot looks like a painting. Out of all the film's 5 Oscar nominations, the one it deserves to win the most is Best Cinematography. The only real problem I have with the film is that it is very slow and the runtime could have been trimmed down, but all in all, Blade Runner 2049 is a worthy successor to the original. Number 5, Good Time. Of all the films I saw in 2017, this one felt the most different. The energy the film was on was completely different from what I've seen before, and I really have to praise the direction from the Safdie brothers, as they are still relatively new directors, so they're still trying to establish their own unique style. But after watching this, I'm definitely looking forward to what they are working on next. Good Time was one of those films that flew under the radar for a lot of people, myself included, as I only saw it for the first time in January, well after it was released in cinemas. So if you missed this film, I'd very much recommend checking it out as soon as you can. Number 4, T2 Trainspotting. This was for me another great Danny Boyle film, and much like Blade Runner 2049, T2 didn't really need to exist, as the first film is such a fantastic movie to begin with, and where else would you take it? And for me, this is why T2 Trainspotting worked. The film is set 20 years after the first film, and the characters have gotten older, but their lives are still shit. Some of the characters never found purpose in their life, and other characters are still stuck in their own self-destructive cycle. And the film is a depressing reminder that no matter how much time we have, it goes by too fast. It's also a perfect showing on how far the actors and director themselves have come in 20 years. This film struck a chord with me personally, much like the first film did, and I think T2 Trainspotting is just as good as the original Trainspotting. Number 3, Dunkirk. Not only is this my favorite Christopher Nolan film, but I also think that this is one of the best war films ever made. This film, in all sense of the word, is a technical masterpiece. From the cinematography that sucks you in with the whole scope of it all, to the sound editing and sound mixing where the sound of an incoming plane is terrifying to listen to the music score from Hans Zimmer that really ties the film together, as the score ensures a certain level of tension throughout the runtime. But I also have to praise the story about the evacuation of Dunkirk and how it's one of the most pivotal moments in British history. I also like how it's a nice change of pace from previous Nolan films, whereas the last few films relied so much on dialogue to tell its story. And here with Dunkirk, it's more the atmosphere that tells the story. So if you never got the chance to see Dunkirk, it is worth checking out. Number 2, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. All I have to say about this film is that it is perfect. And with this and my number 1 film, there is honestly no problems I could find with it. All the boxes are ticked. The performances from all the actors are both hilarious and heartfelt, with Frances McDormand leading the cast as a determined mother who pressures the police to solve her daughter's murder by putting up 3 billboards. The film technically is also well done, with some creative camera shots including a tracking shot, and sequences that are perfectly edited. For example, the phone call between Frances McDormand and Sam Rockwell near the end of the film. This is easily a great and nearly flawless film, and it is a must-see. And number 1, Phantom Fred. Without a shadow of a doubt, this is my favorite film of the year, and another masterpiece from Paul Thomas Anderson. Much like 3 Billboards, Phantom Fred is a nearly flawless film, with all the actors, including Daniel Day-Lewis, delivering phenomenal performances. The music from Johnny Greenwood is the most iconic musical score I have heard in years, and the story, while it sounds boring on paper, Anderson's screenplay makes it fascinating, intriguing, and keeps the interest going throughout the entire runtime. Without question, this is for me the best film of the decade so far, and it's my number 5 favorite film of all time. While 3 Billboards feels more commercial, Phantom Fred speaks to the hardcore film fan, and seeing it was an experience, and this film is absolutely a can't miss. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, be sure to like my Facebook page, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe to my channel below. As always, I'm NETX5. Thank you for watching.